is week 23, English grammar. The structure of our sentence this week is going to be compound complex. So remember, a compound sentence is two independent clauses joined together by a fanboy, and we show our two independent clauses by having two fists, and then we join them together by a fanboy. So we might say, Miss Shelley is teaching essentials and she is looking rather tired, and we would join those two together by and. But a compound complex sentence means it also has at least one dependent clause, and we show that by doing our hand like this. And remember, a dependent clause cannot stand alone. This is our www.asias and our who, which clauses. So we might say, Miss Shelley, who is looking rather tired, taught essentials and her hair is dirty. So that would be our two independent clauses and our at least one dependent clause. This week in class, we were supposed to continue our study of verbals, and we were looking at a gerund. And a gerund is a present participle verb form used as a noun. So last week we talked about present participles. A present participle is a verb plus ing, and we looked at it being used as an adjective. So a verb plus ing describing a noun or a pronoun, okay? So we might say, jumping beans are my favorite kind of vegetable. So jumping is a verb plus ing, but it's being used as an adjective there, describing the beans. So what kind of beans? Jumping beans. But today we're going to look at the present participle being used as a noun. So remember how our present participle, when it was being used as an adjective, it sat on a party slide. Well, today, when our present participle is being used as a noun, it's going to sit on a little stair step that's going to look like this, and it will still have our legs, okay? So when it's being used as a noun, it's going to sit on a little stair step that looks like that, and it'll still be sitting on legs. Remember the three red flags we talked about last week when you approach a sentence, or the three things to look for right off the bat. The first one was prepositional phrases. Go ahead and identify those, put parentheses around them. Next, we said to look for fanboys or www.asia.wubs or who, which clauses, so you can know if your sentence is compound or complex. The last thing we said to look for were verbals. So look for to plus a verb, or a verb that ends in ed, en, or ing usually. So those are the three things to look for when you're approaching a sentence. Let's look at a model sentence. At home, if you have time first, go over adverbs. Go over some of the unusual adverbs that they talked about in the guide. The word very, so, quite, still, or rather, such as the very tired mom was quite impatient. That has a lot of adverbs in it. So make sure you look over those at home. Okay, let's look at a sentence that has a gerund in it and see how that gerund is being used, because it's going to be a noun, but is it being used as a subject noun? Is it a possessive noun adjective? Is it an indirect object, a direct object, an object of the preposition? Because this is all the jobs nouns can have in a sentence. We learned spido, pona are the different roles that nouns can have in a sentence. So our gerund, that's going to be a verb, a present participle verb form, so it's going to have an ing on it, a verb plus ing, is going to be used as one of these. So we're looking for a verb plus ing. So the sentence I'm going to write is swimming was prohibited because of the wind. Swimming was prohibited because of the wind. So the first thing I said to look for were prepositional phrases. Do we have any prepositional phrases? And we actually do in this sentence. The word because could have been a www.wub. However, let's see if it's starting a dependent clause. Let's see if it's followed by a subject and a verb. of the wind? No. So it's not a www.asia there. If you had studied your prepositional sheet, and I would have the students look at their chart to look for prepositions when they're to this part of the sentence, you will notice that because of is a compound preposition. So let's go ahead and identify our prepositional phrases. Because of, what is our object of the preposition? What is our noun or pronoun? It's wind. So that's our object of the preposition. And we would say which wind? The wind, the article adjective the. Okay, let's go back to swimming was prohibited. Do we have any fanboys? No. Do we have any www.asias? No. Do we have any who which clauses? No. Okay, then third red flag, do we have any verbs plus ing being used as something other than a verb? Well, we do. We have swim, which is a verb, plus ing. So let's go ahead and make a note of that. Do we have any other verbs that end in id, that end in ing, ed, or en? We do. Prohibit. Can you prohibit? Yes, you can. That's a verb. Does it end in something other than, does it end in an ing or an ed or an en? It sure does. It ends in an ed. So let's kind of make a note of that, okay? Perhaps prohibited is another verbal. So now we have used our 3 red flags. We've identified some things. Let's find our verb and let's parse this sentence. Was is our verb. So who or what was? Swimming was. So swimming is our subject noun. It's a verbal. It is a gerund, but it's still acting as the subject. So we label it S for subject, and it is a noun, okay? What is being said about swimming? Swimming was. Okay, that's our verb. We ask was, who, or what? Was prohibited. Okay, then we ask, does prohibited rename or describe swimming? Yes, it describes swimming. Swimming equals prohibited. Remember, with adjectives, we could put them in front of the noun and make a sentence. Sometimes we don't because it doesn't sound quite right, but we might say, prohibited swimming is off limits. Okay, and there we see that it is being used to describe swimming. So prohibited is a predicate adjective, and that makes was a verb linking. Now, we already identified that this is going to be a past participle. Being used, it's a verb being used as an adjective. Therefore, it is going to sit on a party slide, and we diagram this. So how many platforms do we need? We need 1 platform. We have 1 independent clause. Okay, our subject is still going to go here, but since it's a gerund, it's going to sit on a stair-step line with legs. Since it's a gerund, it's a present participle verb form being used as the subject noun. It's going to sit on legs. So we capitalize it because it was the first word of our sentence. All right, swimming, and then our verb is going to go here. Our verb linking was. Remember, with the predicate adjective, we draw an angled line pointing back towards the subject. Prohibited is our participle sitting on a party slide. Okay? Because of the wind, what question does this prepositional phrase answer? Does it answer swimming because of the wind, was because of the wind, or prohibited because of the wind? Well, it answers why it was prohibited. So it's going to go under was. So our preposition goes here because of. Our noun, or our object of the preposition, goes on a straight line, wind, and adjectives or modifiers go on slanted lines under the word they modify. At this point, we could go through the quid et quo for a couple of these, looking at, we could look at our verb. We would know that it's a verb linking. We could look at the prepositional phrase. You can spend some time talking about prohibited as an adjective. So on the quid et quo, you would look under the adjective section. And there's a section for verbals on the old one. I'm not sure if it's on the new one or not. But if there was, then you would put prohibited under verbals, and you would put how it's being used as an adjective. So that's going to be that first sentence I'm going to make the next video.